not correct. But, okay. My mic is working, Sha. I've done that. All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you that could not hear me online, I believe now you should be able to hear me. Um, Last week we discussed on so many things like how to create a database and how to create tables, right? In today's class, we're going to discuss on something that has never been done in Nigeria, which is what? A secondary school assembly attendance system. Now, why is the system so fascinating? Why did I pick that system? I was sitting in my room trying to create the notes, and then I realized, wait, we don't have that system in Nigeria. I don't go to assembly. And nobody ever called me and said, why don't you come to assembly? Well, I do go sometimes if I feel like it. I shouldn't sound like an unserious student. But in reality, we don't have such kind of systems. No, we do? Landmark University. I'm talking about secondary school. At what point in time? Do assembly? No, I mean do assembly. Ah, no, not in class. Really? Fascinating. Well, what I remember is some people go for assembly and some people don't go for assembly. And you see the whole of SS3, you see 30 people there. When you go to class, you see 100 plus. Same as what is going on in this particular course. When I come to class, I see less than 100 students. When I check online, I see less than 100 students. When I ask people to fill form, I see 300 plus. Now, the question I'm asking is, where are all those other people coming from? Hmm? Well, God is watching you. There is God. Now, we are developing a complete system today, okay? We're going to design, I've already designed the database. We're going to develop the database. We're going to populate the database with data. And we're going to do what? Query the data. So that we'll be able to do some little select statements, okay? And then we're going to create something called trigger. I started explaining trigger to you guys last week, right? And then most of you did not understand the concept because it's a bit in here, out there, right? Now, we're going to do it in practice. So please stretch your hands like you want to walk, like you want to pick digger. Do your fingers like this because you're going to type you're going to type on the keyboard, right? And then let's start. So please, we're going to create a database. Does our database have a name? Guys, please know that I don't have the note with me. Okay? I don't have the note with me. So I'll be looking up to you to give me what is in the notes. Does that make sense? No, hold it. I don't want to hold it. I want you to tell me. Yes, so today's class is going to be a bit different from others. Now, somebody was asking online that, is it raining in Abuja? Someone was asking, was it raining in Abuja? I said, enter public transport and come to Abuja and confirm. Abi? That way we know. Someone is asking me to share the note online. I believe I've shared the note on Telegram, right? And most of you guys are on Telegram. So please go to Telegram and get the notes. Okay, it's just a one document something. Okay, not PowerPoint, PDF. PDF. Now, what is the name of our database? From the notes. Sorry, what are we even expected to do today? Now, when everybody speaks, nobody hears. So let's pick one person to explain to us what we're about to do today. Somebody, please. Class rep, will you be opportune to explain to us what we are doing today? Hey, you have presented it now. You want to explain to us? All right, please. Sure, help us.
Okay, so today's class will be creating a database for students assembly attendance. Be able to store information about the staff, students, and their classes, as well as attendance information. Each student has a QR code bracelet, which has hand during the assembly to mark the student's attendance.
Okay.
So what we do, it should be able to get the attendance of a single student. You should be able to get the attendance of students in one class. You should be able to get the list of students the staff has entered. And you should be able to get the attendance of the students between dates.
Okay, good. Now, what are the steps? Somebody, help us with the steps. Chamo, you don't need to do school anymore. And wait, pay your belt. If you tell them now, for all of us with disgrace. Have you done check up, Lee?
Is to create a database for secondary school money assembly.
All right. So first item is we're creating a database for what? So now, what is the name of our database? Somebody. Is it not too long?
Money assembly. Money assembly.
Huh? School day assembly. Okay, so school assembly. SSMA. Okay, so let's use school assembly. It's still too long. Let's use SSMA. Oh, let's use school DB. Let's use school DB. Okay? Let's use school DB as the name of our database. So please create a database called school DB. Don't worry, we'll come to where you have not reached. Are we together? Now, 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 have you created a database? Okay. Now, everyone said they have created a database. Have you created yours? Okay, chairman, with 2 laptops. It's taking you forever. It's not hard now. Captain, have you done yours? Eh? Have you done your own? You've created a database. So the database name is what? School DB. So now I'm creating mine. For those of you that have not created yours, please pay attention to my screen. Are we together? Guys, are we together? One house. So now I'm creating my own DB called what? School DB. So I'll say what? Create schema, right? And then I click on create schema, and then I say what? School DB, right? And then I come here and say what? Apply. And then I say what? Apply again. And then I have my what? School what? DB. Now, since I've created my DB, what is the next step? Chairman, the next step.
The next step is to create a table for students class, student staff, assembly, and attendance.
So we are creating what? We are creating a table for what? Student, for class, and what?
Attendance.
Come again? One person, please.
Table for students class,
Students,
staff,
assembly, attendance, that's all.
So let's start with the first one, which is what? Student class. Student class?
student classes.
Okay. So let's call them classes instead. And let's leave them as student classes. Okay. Now, if you look at, I created a breakdown of the items, right? Now, what are the items under that particular table? Mm-hmm. 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 Now, since you have already created a table before, I believe you understand the process it will take you to create what? A table. Let's have one house, please. Let's have one house. Since you've already created a table before, I believe you understand the process you follow to create what? A table. So please create a table for what? Student class. So what is a student class? Madam, we're talking about secondary school as same primary one. Ha! I cannot increase the size of this. This one I cannot increase the size, but those of you online, I cannot increase the size of the screen. I can only increase the size of the text, and we're not using much of text today. Okay? So please endeavor with us. All right? Now, how do you create a table? First of all, we are supposed to use the database, right? But since we don't have time to write code, what we do is we double click on the database. Okay, so you double click. Now, once you double click, you see it will turn what? Darker. It will be like me. It will be what? Darker than the other databases. Because if I close this now, you see the school database is what? Is bold. Are we together? You cannot see? Can you see now? Okay. No, I will stay. I will be moving around. Don't worry. So that people will be able to see. Now, To create a table, all you need to do is what? Open the database, and then what? Right click on what? On tables, and say what? Create table, right? And then we write the name of the table. What's the name of our table? Student classes, right? And then which fields we have? Entry ID is type what? What's the type of entry ID? What is it? Is it a primary key? Can it be null? Is it auto incrementing or not? Are you sure? It's auto incrementing. What next? Class name. Now, this is where we store JSS1, JSS2, JSS3, SS1, SS2, SS3, SS4. Oh, SS4 no diva. Because one secondary school student will hear me and say, hey, and you do SS4 again. Let's stop at SS3. So this is where we store it. What is the quantity of text which we should expect? 45 is too short. Yeah, somebody will decide. Let me give you a simple case scenario. You type in 45, thinking somebody will type JS1, right? Somebody type junior secondary school, bracket, JSS1. In front of it, 1. I ask people to put their phone number. I am in Nigeria. You are in Nigeria. You are putting me +234. Why? Why is the question. I don't know if I'm making sense. So please, in the event you are faced with this kind of situation, give as much as possible so that every nonsense the person is going to put in, or any text the person is going to put in, it should contain. That way it doesn't throw error, okay? So we make this 145 characters, okay? Now, should we have more than one JS1? Should we have more than one JS1? They are only JS1. Should we have more than one JS1? Is JS1, let's assume we are doing by class. Because yes, we're actually doing by classes. So we're not worried about JS1A, JS1B, SS1 blue, SS1 green. We're just saying SS1. Now, should this field be a unique field? That's the question. Should it be? So now, what do? We click on UN, and then we click on what? Not null. It must contain a value. What next? Status. What is type?
Active.
Tiny int or what? Boolean, true or false? Maybe your own is made in China, your own Boolean. So we use what? Tiny int. Now, if we say tiny int, sorry, my bad. Tiny int. Now, if we say tiny int, we should be able to add comments. Okay? We should be able to add what? Comments. Let's assume you're not the only person working on database. You're not the only person developing the app. You have multiple people, and you want them to understand that maybe 0 is active and 1 is not active. Or 1 is active, 2 is not active. Or 1 is active and 0 is not active. Now, if you don't write it to the person for the person to be able to read and understand, what that will translate to is you have somebody putting active in for not active and vice versa. Now that will come with a series of problems. Let's assume you are dealing with somebody that is trying to pay his school fees, and the person paid the school fees, but the person you're working with did not understand that 0 is active, and then he made 1 to be active. And on the system, 1 is inactive. What that will translate is the student paid his school fees, but the system is showing he has not paid. Okay? You add comment. Where do you add comment? Here. Where it says comment. Can you see comment here? I think you guys should move your desk forward. That way I will not be blocking you much. You can create a small United Nations here. Just by this side, you create small United Nations. Oh, use that side. Oh, extension. And move forward. Am I still blocking the screen? Yes. And move to this side small. Move to this side small. Okay. So now we say what? 1 equals active. 2 equals not active. Okay? Then what comes next after that? And then the default value should be what? Default value should be active. Okay? Default value should be what? Active. Are we together? So what is next field? Anyone? What is the next field? Huh? Come again? 1. If you look at the comment, 1 is active, the second one is not active. So in the event where somebody add data and do not decide to put the status, we'll have it automatically add 1 to it. That way it's active. Are we together? All right, now let's move on to the next item. What is the next item? Created dates. What's the type? Dates, time. What's the default value? Underscore date, time. Wait. Current time stamp, sorry. Current time stamp. Then what is the last one? Created by, what are we trying to store here? What's the type? How is the voucher? Okay, so let me come back here now. Proper. Can you see now? Chairman, I don't block you, Gekuma. Yeah, I'm in trouble today. I'm feeling like an internet displaced person right now. I feel like IDP. I move here, somebody said no. I move here, somebody said no. All right, let's move on. So now, our type is what? Int, because this is what? A foreign key. Okay? This is a foreign what? A foreign key. Where is it coming from? It's coming from staff. The staff of the staff of the secondary school is one that is supposed to add the class. So the person that is adding the class, we want to keep that person, we want to keep track of that person. So this field here is what? A primary, a foreign key. From where? From staff. Okay? So let's save this. Let's save this real quick. Okay? Now we have our first table. Okay? Now we want to add data to it. We want to add data to this table. How do we go about it? Please, guys, pay attention to my screen. Can you see my screen? Can you see this icon here that has a table and a thunderbolt? Please click on it. Now, when you click on it, it will show you a table like this, right? Can you see the table? proceed. Now, please start typing 1. You've created a table, right? You've created a table. Are we together? You've created a table, right? Now, we want to add data into the table. How do we do that? Is the question, right? So I said, come to your table. Can you see your table here? Can you see the 3 icons by the side? The last one, you click on it. Okay? Now, once you click on it, you will have this result grid. Can you see the result grid? Double click on the first one that says entry ID. Are we together? Did I misplace anybody in the market? Okay, so now we say 1, and then the class name is what? JSS1. What is the status? 1. What is the create date? I'm not putting anything there. Created by, I'll put 1. Although we don't have a staff that to create this particular entry. Are we together? Guys, are we together? Now, to create the record, all we need to do is what? Is click on what? Apply. Okay? We click on apply, and then we click on apply, and then our record is added. Now, do you notice that we have dates attached to the record? Yes. Yes? I'm adding the second class. Okay? So I will say what? I will not enter any entry here. I will say what? JSS2. The status is what? 1. The person that's entering the record is what? 1. So we apply, and then we apply again. Now we have what? 2 records. Now I'm going to add the third one, which is what? JSS3. The status is what? 1. But I'm not adding the status also. I'm just going to add this one here. 1. When I click on apply, it should automatically add. Sorry, a moment. Oh, I don't know what's wrong with my SQL. I have to put status. Now, when I was creating the table, I add current timestamp as default. So whenever I'm adding a record, even if I don't add date and time, it automatically adds. He's asking how do I make sure that whenever I add a record, it adds date. Before, so always add date time for me. Come again? Come again?
Where is it at the current time stamp?
We're looking at the table.
Boy, you don't have time. You don't have time.
What we say? let's see. Okay, so what you don't do is don't teach it to this one. Yeah, because it's supposed to be more. So the way you teach it is the value. Because the person is value of more. So your value of this thing. Guys, guys, please pay attention. Please pay attention to my screen. Now, the problem that facing is this, okay? They come in and they tried a record. Okay? They try to what? Add a record. How do they try to add the record? They add the entry ID as what? Let's say 4. Hmm? And then they click on here, and then they say maybe SS1. Okay? Are we together? Are we together up to now? And then they click in here, and they say what? 1. And then they click in here, and then they leave it empty, and then they click in here and type 1. Now, in some systems, it will throw an error. In some systems, it will work. Okay? If you put space in there, or if you don't leave it empty, it will throw an error. Have you tried that? It worked, right? It's working now. All right, let's move on. Now, question. How many classes do we have left? Which one and which one? We have added SS1 already. 2 classes. So let's add them up, please. This time I'll just say SS1, SS2 is active, and what? 1. And then we apply. Okay. Now, do we have all our classrooms? Do you have all our classes? Which one is remaining on my own screen here? Is it complete? Am I missing anyone? No. So now, which table is the next table? Student information. But before we do student information, let's do staff. Let's do what? Staff. So now, how do we create staff table? The same way we created what? The student class table. Right click here, and click on what? Create table. Now, I don't know if you notice, anytime we say create table, we create a new page for us, right? And then what is the name of our table? Staff information, right? Staff info. That mistake. Okay, no mistake there. Staff information. Now, what are we storing? What fields do we have in staff information? Somebody. Entry ID. Is it int? Is it auto incrementing? Is it non null? So we add all of these items. Now, the next one is what? Full name. So let's say full name is virtual what? What's the size? Now, when I was learning programming, guys, when I was learning programming, what I usually do is I make it 255 characters. That way, even if in a double name you write, it will contain. So what we do, we write what? Let's use 145. It's more than enough for people's name. Unless if your name is from China. Okay. Now, which fields comes next? Username. Username is what? Vacha. Is 45 enough? Okay. Now, is it unique? Username? Is username unique? Are you sure? Let's assume. Username, guys. It's unique. Yeah. Now, let me give you a simple example. Guys, please listen. Username is unique. The reason is because it can be an email address or phone number. You can use the email address as username. You can use phone number as username. And it has to be unique. If you have two Abduls in your department, and you create Abdul as two usernames, there's a probability that when you are putting the password and they mistakenly communicate and say, let's share the same password, you don't know which Abdul is doing what. Because they are sharing the same password. So you make it unique. That way you not have two Abduls in the whole school. Okay? So now we make this what? Unique. What comes next? Password. Password is not unique. That's the beauty of it. Password is not what? Unique. So we say what? I think there was password before as a type. Yeah, it encrypts automatically. But for now, I don't know. I can't remember the last time I used password as a field. So I doubt if you see password now. So let's use what? Vaca. 200. The reason why I'm using 200 is because sometimes you encrypt password. And when you encrypt it takes longer characters because of the encryption. So if you put small, it will not accept. Okay, so let's use this. Okay, now what next? Created dates. Is what? Date time. And then it has what? Default, current, underscore time, stamp. Are we together? Now, what do we do next? We apply, right? We click on apply. It shows us the SQL query that generates the table, and then we look at it and say, okay, everything looks fine, and then we what? We apply. Yes. So we can add it here actually. We can say not null. Okay? We can add it here. You can edit this particular code to suit what you want. Okay? So password is not null. And then we click on apply. Now, we have a table for what? We have table for staff information. So now let's add two staff, me and class rep. Class rep with a help. Guys, how many of you study this new national anthem? All right, let's move on. Let's move on, guys. Okay. Now, now we want to add information of what? Staff. How do we do that? The same way. We create the we first of all select, and then we what? We can start typing. Now, quick question. What if you have your data in an Excel sheet? How? What if you have your data in Excel sheet? The import option is a long process. Now, I will use Excel sheets. I don't know if do you have Excel here? Madam, do you have Excel? Yes. Okay. Let's assume the entry ID is 1, followed by full name, right? Sulaiman Hayat Tuge, right? What comes next? What comes after full name? Username, let's say HSML Tuge. What comes next? Same thing. Let's assume. What comes next? So we can ignore that, right? And then what comes next? Class 5, what's your name again? What's your name? Gloria Omale from Kogi State. Opari. What did you go there? Well, actually, Benue is one of the most beautiful states in Nigeria. You have to go there. I've never been there, but I've seen pictures. I want to go to Benue sometime, and the fruit over there is next to God. Let's not go there. Okay. Omale, what is your username? It's too long now. Just say go. G-O. General Overseer. So username is what? G-O. Password unko? Madam, you complicate our life. Oh. Let's say GO1234. 1234, right? Username to GO1234. Let's assume digits of your student ID. So now we copy this data like this, Control C, and then we bring it over to my SQL. My SQL will reject it, and I'll tell you why. We right click here, and we say paste rows. My SQL will reject it. Why? Because we have 5 fields, and this has 4 fields. So how do you solve this? Add more fields? Okay, so let's add more fields. How do you display this in Excel? Mm. 2024. 06. 28. But I'm just creating dates and nothing else. So now I'm in Excel sheets. Okay. Guys, usually if you're working on a new project, usually it's very, very common to find out that the company you're working for were using Excel as where they keep their data. Now, for you to be able to take that data out of Excel and put it inside my SQL is what I'm trying to show you. Does that make sense? So now, this Excel sheet is, we are assuming this Excel sheet is our data. And we're going to move it to where? To my SQL. So how do we do that? We copy this, the data like this, as it is. Control C. Take it to this place. Right click on this arrow and then say what? Paste. And then we say what? Now it's rejecting it. Why? Hmm? Incorrect. So how do you solve this? We use what? Now we can use the keyword now. When you click on apply, you open this. Sorry, let's try something here real quick. Remove this here and put the keyword now. Now, with bracket like this. Now, if your data is huge, you can use Notepad or you can use VS Code to actually edit the date to now. So you have now like this, and then we say apply. It accepts. Okay? So now you look at our data, you see we have how many staff? 2 staff, right? That are supposed to be scanning the students' QR codes. Now, since we have 2 staff, if you remember back in our table, in our previous table that we created, we have something that says created by, right? I don't know if you remember. If you go back to our table here, we have created by. And this created by is a staff. I don't know if you remember. Because right now, if you look at our classes, the created by is what? 1. Who is 1 here in our sub table? So now there is a relationship between the 2 data. Who entered this particular class is Suleiman Hayat. In the event I change this value to 2, what will that translate to? So me, I entered SS1, JS1 to JS3, and then Gloria entered what? Now, what I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to show you how to change record. Because don't go and change people's results. Okay? So now I click on what? Apply. Can you see the query? So now when I say apply, because the query is like this, this is the completion of it. I don't have the, okay, let's do it this way. Let me copy everything here. Control C. I've already applied. No problem. Now, we have 2 staff. Suleiman Hayat entered from JS1 to where? JS3. Class rep took over and entered where? SS1 to where? SS3. Now, we don't want a situation whereby somebody will delete class rep. Because there is another data that is tied to where? To who? To class rep. Because the classes that were added by me and her, right? Now we don't want people to come and delete her record or her name from the database. Because if they delete her name right now, we will not know who is number 2. Because the database is going to auto-increment. If we delete her record now, the next record that is coming will be number 3. So we'll not have number 2 again, unless if we decide to tell it to give another person that number 2. I don't know if I'm making sense. So now we want to tie the name, we want to tie class rep to the record she added. Okay? So that you cannot delete class rep until you read those records first. Because right now, let me show you in practice. Right now, I can click on, let me copy this first before I delete it. Let's say copy row. Okay? Right now, I can right click on, sorry, just a moment. I can right click on class rep. My bad. I can right click on class rep and say what? Delete row. And then I say apply. And then I say apply. Right now, if I should press this thing till Jesus comes, it will never show me class rep. I don't know if you understand. So now the problem we're going to encounter is what happens to these records that she added? We will not know who added the record again because we have already deleted the class rep that added the record. So what do? We tie them together. Okay? We what? Tie them together. How do we do that? We use something called foreign key constraint. I believe in the first class I talked about foreign keys, right? So now we're going to use foreign key constraint to tie class rep to the record she added. How do we do that? Let me add class rep back. Sorry for deleting you, madam. So I'm adding class rep back and I'm adding her number as number 2. You have an error? Then yes. Okay. Oh, we'll come to that very soon. You're not okay, so now, right now, you are trying to hold the classes. You see, you are trying to hold the classes. Supposed to be the classes, but you're not staff information. You're not going to work with staff information. And for put class information first. Then the staff information. Click on that this here. Yes. What do we say? Click on this. Click on that. Now, click on this and click it down. No, click on this. It's called to the side. Now, move this and leave it now. Yes, it is. No matter. Okay. No quotes. No quotes. All right, guys, let's move on. We don't have much time to dwell on this. Okay, so let's move on. Now, for us to be able to tie Madam Class Rep to the record she added, we go back to the class schema. Can you see the class schema? We come back to this part here. Are we together? And then we come down to this part. Can you see this part, this lower part? Can you see the lower part here? Yes. So you say you want to add what? Foreign key. Now it's asking, what's the name of this foreign key? Now, some of you will decide to name it after yourself. You have to understand one thing. Foreign key cannot replicate. You cannot have multiple foreign key with the same name. So usually what I do is I take the tables and then I put underscore and then I add foreign key to it. So I can say something like staff underscore student FK and not the FK that the Americans used to say. Okay? If you know the joke, you understand the joke, then you laugh. If you don't understand, let's move on. Okay? Now, you've added a name. It's asking you, which table are you trying to reference? We're trying to reference what? Staff. Okay? We're trying to reference what? Staff. Because so now give it a name. Okay? You first of all need to give it what? A name. Now, once you give it a name, it will ask you which table are you trying to reference. This foreign key you are trying to add, the relationship is between which table and which table. Right now, we're in under student classes table. And we want to reference it to where? To staff. So we click on what? Staff over here. Okay? Automatically, it will add, these fields you are seeing are from where? From the class table. So which field are we trying to reference? We're trying to reference the staff ID. Because if you look at this, these are what? Staff ID. This is the entry IDs we're trying to reference. 1, 2, me, class rep. These are the classes that we've created. I created from JS1 to JS3, and you create from JS3 to SS1. Okay? So we're trying to reference staff and staff entry ID. So now we can click on apply, right, like this, but we don't want to do that. We want a situation whereby if you delete class rep, it should delete the classes she created. Yes. If you delete class rep, it should delete the classes she created. How do you do that? You tell it to what? On updates, you say cascade or restrict. So let's use cascade. Cascade means if you delete the parent, the child will not be born. So if you delete the staff, if you update the staff, the student will be affected. If you delete the staff, the student will be deleted too. And then on update, let's cascade, and on delete, let's cascade. And then we can say what? Apply. And then it will show you the code. This is the code. The reason why I don't like showing you, the reason why I don't like running the code or typing the code is because it's more confusing. So you click on what? Apply. And then, as you can see, we've added a foreign key. Now, if you open this class and you click on a foreign key here, you see the foreign key there. Are we doing that? Now, let's try and delete class rep again. That's a no vex, so I will delete you to the tire. Let's try and delete class rep, and then you see the damage it will do. We click on class rep and say, sorry, my bad. Right click on class rep and say what? Delete, right? And then you say what? Apply, right? And then you say what? Apply again. It's deleted, right? Now, if I click on this, you can see I'm doing one there, right? Now, if you go to students and you check them, do you understand? So when you don't want a record to be deleted, you say what? Restrict. If you restrict, then it tell you cannot be able to delete this class until you delete the classes you have added. Okay? So that is, and why did they make it like that? Why did they make MySQL like that? It's for data integrity. It's for what? Data integrity. Because if you delete the parent, then how is the child around? Without a parent, you can never have a child, right? Now, you've deleted the parent and the child is there. In MySQL, that is not a good thing. In real world scenario, parents die all the time and leave the children to inherit their everything and continue with life, right? And give birth to grandchildren and like that. Because otherwise, none of us will be here. Abi? But in MySQL, if you don't have the parent, then the child must not exist. Okay? All right, let's move on. Now, I'll try to add back class rep. Now, I was telling you guys that if I add class rep and I did not specify that I want an ID to be 2, the ID she will pick is ID number 3. Okay? So let's add Gloria Omale. Abi? Like the musician. So we say go 1, 2, 3, 4, and go 1, 2, 3, 4. And we say what? Apply. Now, can you see the number she picked? It's 3. It's 3, right? Now, if you try to add a new record into classes and you specify that the ID is 2, it will reject it. Because 2 doesn't exist. Should we try? Yes. Let's give it a go. So now let's say here, and mind you, here we have 3 items. We had 6, now we have 3. So the next number is what? 7. Next number is 7. It's auto-incrementing. It doesn't care if the record is removed. It will continue. So the next record is what? 7. So let's add SS1. We say it's active, and we say it's what? Number 2. That doesn't exist. And then we click on apply. Can you see that? It will never allow you to add the record. Why? Because the reference you are making does not exist. But then if I should change that to what? To 3. And then I say apply. It worked. Why? Because number 3 exists. I don't know if I'm making sense.
But if you click number 2 and then you want to apply to number 2, it will apply, right?
If you have number 2, it will apply. Now, let's assume that I want to change Gloria's number to what? Number 2. Right? I want to change her number to number 2. What will happen to this record that she has added and it has number 3? Should it? Is the question. SS2, 1. And then we say here is what? 3. And then we have SS3. Here we have 1. Here we have, this will be 3, and this will be 3, meaning Gloria is the person that added the record, right? Now, if I click on apply, and then I click on apply, it accepted, right? So we have SS1, SS2, SS3, all added by who? Gloria. Now, if I want to change Gloria's ID from number 3 to number 2, will it allow me? Now, the fascinating part of it is, if I should apply this, then it should be able to automatically update Glorious ID in the other table too. You want to check?
Yes. Okay. Oh. Then we can change the entry ID. What is it? That means we can change the entry ID also.
You can assign the number, yes.
You can still assign the number.
You can still assign the number, but the problem with that is it will be next to impossible for you to keep track of which number has been deleted. Because it's better for you to just do increment and continue than to start going back and check which number has not been used. And let me use that number now. It will mess up your record. Like literally mess up your record. So let's move on to the next table, which is what? Student information. Now, for student information, we have student information. Now, what are the fields? From where did you get lost? I did not assign it to two. Right now, what you remember when we're setting up the foreign key constraint, right here, we ask it to what? To cascade on updates. So when you ask it to cascade, if you update the father, let's assume, right? In real world, your name is what? Ngozi what? Okonjo Wela. Okay. Ngozi what? Eh? Uloka. Okay, let's assume we're not assuming your name is Ngozi Uloka, right? Now, what happens if your father do change of name? What happened? Let's assume you are still under 18, right? And you're still under 18. Let's assume, and then your dad changed his name to, let's assume, Michael. What happens? You still very Oloka, or you change to Michael. That is exactly what is going on here. Once the ID of the parent change, it will change in all the children. All of them. Right now, we're going to add another table. And we're going to change Gloria's number to 3. And then you will see how it will affect all the tables that have Gloria's number as 2. They will now move to 3. All of them will change to 4. It's just like your dad changes his name, and then you have to change your own name to match what your dad's name is. Just pray that your dad doesn't change his name regularly. Because one day now you'll be asking your dad, what is your name again? Yes.
So I was trying to apply it. So it showed an error. Everything was saying it showed an error.
Yes.
It's in this.
Did you apply? You don't apply. Okay. Now, yes.
When I was trying to create the foreign key, I was trying to apply. It showed me an error. So, but I went back, I didn't check for any correction. It was still okay. So I tried it again. Not showing me notification that I'm duplicating my foreign key. So I checked the index. It's in the index. So I checked the column, the left column. It's also present.
I want to see to understand. Sorry. So we are trying to add a star, and then you are trying to replace the key name star, right? So now what you do, so now we have, right? Now we have solution. So you don't have a star. So you're trying to have a child without parents. You never answer it.
Thank you, sir.
All right, guys, let's move on because this student has started eyeing me now. You see, the time is up. We can take our time. The last time somebody asked me to take my time, I carry clock. It's something I can do, Abi. So now we're doing student info. Okay, and what are the fields in student info? The first one is what? Is type what? Is it primary key? Yes. Is it auto incrementing? Yes. Okay. Then what comes next after that? Class ID. So now class ID is what? It's what? It's a foreign key. Class ID is a foreign key to class. You're linking the student to which class the student is. It'd be like bicycle. Let's let's take a university setting. A university has faculties. Faculties have what? Departments. Department has what? Programs. Because if you come to university, you don't hear people say, I'm studying the Department of Computer Science. Right? They are studying what? BSc Computer Science, which is what? A program under what? That department. Then, the student, what does the student belong to? The student belongs to the program. Because a student is part of what? A program. So now the relationship between a university and a student is college, department, program, then students. Now, a student is supposed to take a course, right? And courses belongs to what? To departments. So now, there is a relationship between what? Student and what? Courses and what? Departments. So what I'm trying to say is that in data, there is always a relationship between the data. But where there's no data, there is always what? Relationship. And there are different type of relationships. You have one-to-many relationships, you have one-to-one relationship, and then you have what? Many-to-many relationships. The common relationship you have is what? One-to-many. That is the common type of relationship you can have. Because one university has many faculties. Is it possible for many faculties to have one university? No. One department, one faculty has many departments. Is it possible for departments to have many faculties? No. I don't know if I'm making sense. So that is the exact relationship we are dealing with here also. Okay? A staff belongs to what? To the school. The student belongs to what? The school too. The subjects, the classes belong to what? The school. But the relationship is a student is in a class. Have you ever seen a student that is in JS1 and JS2 at the same time? Why? It's a one-to-one relationship for the student and the class. But for a class, a class can have what? Many students. So if you're looking at it from the student to the class, it's a one to what? One. A student can belong to what? A class. But a class can have what? Many students. I don't know if I'm making sense. So now let's move on. So now we have class ID. What comes after that is what? What is type? Int. Why is it int? Because we are going to reference another Yeah, but if you remember, we have a separate table for classes. So I just picking the ID of that class to add it to this other class too. Okay? So now, after that, we have what is next? Class ID is not unique in this instance because it's already a foreign key constraint. But automatically, it makes it such that you can have you don't need to worry about it being unique, provided it's a foreign key constraint. Okay, it has a foreign key constraint attached to it. Now, what is the next item? Student code. Now, what is student code? What is the type? Hmm? What's student code? Now, is it int or what? Now, it's only in Nigeria that I see the university settings. Well, I don't know. The schools I've been to, my ID never had alphabets. My IDs never had slashes. Remember? Yes. Mine was numbers. Mine never had that. Who are you killing that you are slashing everything up and down? Hmm? We're many actually. We're from different countries. We're from different countries. We're many. But we never had numbers. We never had slashes. We never had any. I think my number is 1080 2144 8. I don't know. It's not the year I entered. I entered 2008. 2144 8. 44 8. They coded, instead of the slashes and the letters, and they coded them. But at any point in time, if you enter my number, anywhere enter my number, my face and everything will appear. It's unique to that student, it's unique to me in that university. In the university, but no, it cannot be possible. So let's move on. So a unique code can be anything. It can be the student ID with the slashes, it can be numbers, it can be anything. So since it can be anything, we make it what? Virtual. Now, if we're making it virtual, what length should we expect? Chairman. We are talking about secondary school now. So now we can make it 11. 11. 11. Right now we have phone numbers and we are still using 11 digits. Are we 12 digits for phone numbers? I think 11. Up to now, we haven't reached 12 digits yet, and we have not consumed it. Look at the population, 200 plus million. So we make it what? 11 digits. Then what comes next? It's unique. Definitely it's unique. Because you can't have two students having the same number. So now what next? Student what? Student name. Vaka 145 should be enough. Then what next? Don't worry, we'll come back to that. What next? Age. Int. Created. Default. Then created by. Type is what? Because I'm going to reference it to another table. It will be int. Okay? Now, before we finish creating the table, we will do all the referencings. Now, this particular table is referencing how many tables? 2. It's going to reference the class table, and it's going to reference what? The person that's adding the student. So it's going to reference the class table and the staff table. So now we go to what? Foreign keys. And then we say what? Student underscore class underscore FK. And then we are referencing what? We're referencing what? Student class. We're referencing which table? Classes. And then which of the fields are we referencing on? Is on class ID. And then what is the foreign key option? We make it cascade on update and on delete. You can make it restrict on deletes actually, and cascade on updates. So they cannot delete. Or you can make it cascade. Or you can set it to null. So where the person's ID used to exist becomes null. Now that will come with a whole new kind of worm. Okay? So we make it what? Cascade. And then we add the next key, which is what? Student underscore staff underscore FK. And then we say we are referencing to what? To what? Staff information. Under which field? Or under which column? Under created by. And then we add like this. And then we say what? Apply. Now this is the query. Cascade. I don't know. I've never skipped before because since when I learned it, I was using cascade. If I try to update something, I cascade it. Okay? Now let's move on. So now we have how many tables? 3 tables. 3 what? Tables. Are you guys with me? Have you caught up to me? How many of you are with me right now? Where did you get misplaced? Come again? Oh, the first one is class ID now. It's attaching to class, student to class. Yes. Which column? Okay. Okay. So now, the next thing is we click on what? Apply. And then we'll have the code look like this. Come again? Oh. Okay. So now we click on what? Apply. And then we're good to go. So now, if we try to add a student, what that would mean is we need to know which class the student is in. So now, the first item is which class is the student. Let's say the student is in just 1. What is the serial number for just 1? 1. And then, what is the student code? Let's pick a unique number. What is the student name? That is auto-incrementing. We don't want that because we want like 6 digits or more for the unique identifier. So now, what is the student's name? Gloria is the class rep and is the teacher, and
She's the only one, though.
she cannot be the alpha and the omega of the class now. God's time is the best. God's time. God's time is what? Ababio. Okay. Okay. How old is God's time? Now here wahala go dey. When we reach ladies age. Just 1, you won't kill him. 11 is more than enough. Hey, 11 is too young. Just one? Guys. We make this mistake in Nigeria where we push children to classes they're not supposed to be in. And at the end of the day, the children become frustrated in life. You see a university student, 17 years old in university, 16 years university. Some picking that has not even discovered himself yet. You are even putting in university where old people are supposed to be. So you bring 12-year-old student to university because of experience in job. Now, created by who created the record? Me or class rep? I create the record, so that is 1. Now, the second person is which class? So it's what? 2. What's the unique identifier? What is the name? Huh? Fatima Jimijat. Fatima Ali Mekudi. And now it's good to affiliate people to money. How old is Fatima Mekudi? So she's the brainiac. And who created the record? No, it can't be me. It should be class rep. No. This one is but the classes we are dealing with just 1, just 2, just 3. This one created by is the teachers. So that is the staff. There are only 2 staff. Me and class rep. This is student. Okay? Now. Yes. No. It's not who created just 2. It's who is creating this current record. So that means it's either me or her, unless if you have more entries. Does it make sense? So now let's add the third person. The third person is still in just 1. And then we say what? The unique identifier is this. What's the name? Secondary school. Stella Maris. How old is she? Hi. Madam. Guys, listen, she's asking a very important question that why is a 9-year-old in just 2 and 10 and 11-year-old in just 1? When I was in university, we had an 18-year-old. I was 25. What are you talking about? Question. How old is the youngest professor? Says who? I think he was less than 13 years old or so. I'm telling you. You doubt it? Google the youngest professor. Relax now. Guys, listen. It's only in Nigeria that a child has to pass through primary school, secondary school, university. There are children that are wizards when it comes to thinking. Now, those children, They don't need to do all the long process that we're following. No. He became professor at a very young age. I think less than 15 years. Check it, please. Youngest professor. He was teaching professors. What are you talking about? He's a thing now, right? When did he become a professor? He's an Indian guy. He was 8, go? Oh. Chairman, this child you're looking at, listen. What I'm going to tell you is, you come to a class where the lecturer is supposed to teaching basic students that are doing postdoctoral degree. You see that child will come and start explaining things to them. If he can explain it, then why won't he be a professor? It's not in Nigeria where you have to be old before you become a professor. All right, guys, let's move. We don't have time, guys. Let's move. Now I added this record. Let's add the last record from SS2. So now the question is, who is in SS2? And what is the number for SS2? The answer for the number for SS2 is what? 9. So we added SS2 students, and then his unique identifier is this, and then his name is let's say Chimeze. Come again?
It changed automatically when the last record was executed.
We deleted the previous record now. No, we added, and whatever it is for you, you add it like that. Okay? Sorry, the guys online, the phone is dead. I don't know if they can hear me or see what we are doing. Please let me tell them that we're sorry that we cannot be able to see what they are saying. Read the material I sent and go through the video. Time management. Okay? Now, how old is this SS2 student? Let's say 17. Who added the record? Madam First Lady. Now, let's apply. Let's look at our query. Sorry, my bad. This is our query. Now, let's click on apply. We have added the student. Now, as you can see, we've added all the students that we are trying to add. Now, if I should change the lecturer's information and change Gloria's ID to 3, it will affect the 2 tables because the 2 tables are referenced with the foreign key constraint like this. Now, if I should click on apply, if I click on apply, you see the ID has changed to 3, right? If I go to classes, I check on classes, you see it has changed to 3, right? If I go to student information, all the students she added will also change to what? To 3. Why? Is because we use cascade. Okay? We use what? Cascade. Now, I will export this code and then I will give it to you guys. The next class we will come into, please have this database on your system. That way we build upon what we have been working on. Please go through the code, understand. You can. The beauty of this particular class is it is being recorded, so you can always go back and follow bit by bit. For those of you that are here physically, I believe you will have an upper hand when it comes to actually following the video because you've seen how we interact and how I do things. For those of you online, so I don't know how to say this, but I'll keep praying for you guys to come to the practical session. Guys, our last class for database management system will be on Friday next week. Our last class for database management system will be on Friday next week. Next week I will do 1 hour. I will do the whole class. I will do use it for my database management system. So what that will translate to is for software engineering, introduction to software engineering, we're going to have just 3 classes. Now I believe I can cover everything within those 3 classes. History. Hey, see English. Now this guy will go speak English. What's go divorcing wife? You don't even know. What I'm trying to say is the classes are supposed to hold for 4 weeks. Each class is supposed to hold for 4 weeks. Now, due to some constraint that we experienced, we decided that okay, the classes should hold 3 weeks, and then on the final day, the first lecturer that was taking the first class will take half the day, and then he will hand over to the next lecturer to take the remaining part of the day. If you remember when I was in class the last time, Odmotalib was here, and then he graciously allowed me to complete my class, right? Now, next week is the day we're supposed to hand over. But since the handover is between me and me, I decided that I will use that time to complete this particular course. So that upper week, we'll go straight into what? Introduction to software engineering. Does that make sense? Now I will send a backup of, I'll take a backup of this database, and then I'll post it to what? To Telegram. Okay? I'll post it to where? Telegram. All you need to do is delete the current database you have that is called SchoolDB, and then double click on the, and then let me just do it real quick. So right now, I'm going to take backup. Please, those of you that are shouting backup, this is it. Okay? I go to what? Administration. Okay? And I say what? Exports, data exports. Am I clear? Data what? Exports. Now it will ask me, which database am I trying to export? Right? I will tell it, I want to export what? SchoolDB. And then I will select the SchoolDB itself, and then it will ask me, do I want to export all these 3 tables? I will say, yes, I want to export them. If I don't want a table, I'll just click it and then take it out. I want to take all of them. I want to dump all the stored procedures and functions. We'll talk about those ones briefly. We're not going to go into details of those. Dump event and dump triggers. Okay? We want to dump it inside a what? A file. The file is what? In my document, dumps, and then this is the file name. Okay? So now I can click on what? Start exports. Shikena. You don't finish. So now we go back to my document on this computer. Madam, are you on Telegram? So you post the note, please. You go to my document. Can you see dumps? You click, you open dumps. Can you see this file? This is the file that you're supposed to what? Import. Now, how do you import it? You just come back to this side. Under administration, you say what? First of all, you delete the database here. You just right click and delete. Right click, delete, right? Then you come back to administration, and then you say what? Database restore. And then you say contain file. And then you select the file you want to restore, which is in my document under dumps. And then once you click on it, it will ask you which database are you trying to target. You select the database, and then you click on there is next. Huh? What? Yeah, but for now I don't want to select the SchoolDB, so you import. Alternatively, you can do it this way. If you don't want to do the administration part, it's too hard for us. You can do it this way. You open a new, you click on this, and you say what? Sorry, not this one. Can you see this here? This one here, this button. You click on it, and then you select this file, and then you say what? Open. Now it will show you everything that is inside the file, including the data and everything, and the code and everything. All you need to do is just to click on what? This Thunderbolt. Shikena. So that is the option of what? Restore and backup. Okay. So she will posting this. She will posting this to the Telegram, and then everybody will be able to what? Have access to it. Okay. Please run it on your system and make sure that it's working fine. Now, in the event you do the database and it doesn't work, you try to run this code, it doesn't work. All you do is just to do one or two things. The first one is you remove all of this and change it to create database. Here, say create database. If not exist, and then use the database. So, madam, this is the file. I've saved it. Please send it to all of us. So please run this code as is. Let me just do this. Drop if exists. Yes. Okay. You can see my messages, right? Click on me and send me the file. I'll post it. Yeah. Let's say drop database if exists. Okay, so with this now, you should be able to run the code just fine and everything will work perfectly by God's grace. So, any question? Yes.
That time you did this place, not after you deleted that Gloria table, I think you created another one. So if I want to apply here, it shows me this.
Then scroll to the side now. Let me see what is going on there. I'm not holding it too.
This hold it all. I use my. This is what it has. If I apply, it will not work.
What is the reason? Because you already have. Wait.
Even this last one you did, I cancelled. Like this last student.
Go back to stuff. Go back to stuff information. Go back to stuff. I want to see stuff information. It's there.
Where is it?
You don't pass up. Yeah,
Okay.
you did it. So now you are trying to. Now you see Glory is number 3.
Yeah.
So go back to that class. This thing. You are passing it as number 2 to never work
Okay.
because you don't know who is number 2. Okay. Another question, guys. Another question. All right. Thank you very much for coming. In the next class, we're going to insert more records. We're going to create, I think, how many tables are we supposed to have in this class, this particular exercise? Tables. How many tables? Check, sir, please help us check, sir. How many classes, how many tables do we have?
The student class, the student information, the staff information, assembly.
It's 5 altogether. Yes. Is there any question from online participants? Okay, so please make sure that you've already filled that form online, because I'll be turning it up today so that I can be able to upload the students that will be writing the exams. Now the exam is simple. If you read the notes, it's objective now, A, B, C, D, E. Introduction to computer. Introduction to computer. Let's have four slides. Read the slides and watch the video. I sent you guys a video, right, that breaks down the computer. Guys, the exams I'll open it tomorrow. At any point in time that you are free, you don't need to rush and do it. Read first, understand, because you are going to have 100 questions, and you have 1 hour to answer them. Should we do it 50 questions, exam 1, 50 questions, exam 2? No. Guys, I have seen in universities, whenever you're writing exams for 3 credit load, you have 3 hours to write the exams. If your brain does not shut down then, for 3 hours you are working and your brain does not shut down. This one is OBJ. Let me give an example. If I should ask you, what is the capital of Nigeria? How long will it take you to answer that question? It's practically the same. Madam, I'll be honest with you. Try one of these Google challenges. I mean, you understand that in Nigeria, we're not even asking questions yet. I participated in one of the challenges or Google challenges, and the question we were asked, in the question, it had almost 15 examples. One question, though, almost 15 examples. Inside the question, every question will say example. Inside question, have you ever written exams that you see example inside question? Example inside question for Nigeria?
Example inside question.
Yes. I saw 15 that I could count off. We're in base here working then. Me, Usman, and I think Abdul Salam. My head cracked, I go sleep. All right, thank you very much, everybody. See you guys next